So I believe, knowing you, that your greatness is in your future, that it's not in the rearview mirror of what you've done on a basketball court. How are you going to apply everything that made you what you are and got you to this point now in Kobe Inc. and your after basketball life?
Well, I mean, the hardest part for that has been trying to figure out what comes next. You know, it used to terrify me at 20, 21 years old, looking at athletes who've retired and really have nothing to go to. You kind of try to figure it out. Like you retire and you say, okay, I got to figure things out. And I didn't want that. You know, so at the age of 20 and 21, I started really reading a lot and trying to like find what do I love to do. And you know, I was fortunate but unfortunate to have these injuries. You know, with the Achilles, the shoulder, and the knee. I say fortunate because it gave me a lot of time to think. It gave me a lot of time to sit. It gave me a lot of time to say, man, my career could be over right now. And all of this work that you've done, trying to figure out what comes next, you're unprepared for. Right? And I didn't want that. So I kept thinking, asking the wrong question. What's the biggest industry I can get into? What industry I can get into that has the biggest upside? Wrong question. And then I started asking, what do you like doing? What do you love to do the most? I love storytelling. I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And so that's what I decided to do.
So you want to tell stories now. And you started with your own story, which was Muse, which was on Showtime, which was a terrific documentary. And if you haven't seen it,
thank you.
I recommend that you get it on demand or go to showtime.com.
Thank you.
That was your first start. Were you pleased with that effort?
Yeah, I was. You know, it's you know, storytelling gives you such a broad lens. You know, but you know, the opportunities that you have in media and technology, the opportunities that you have to entertain and educate are endless. I mean, literally, story is the seed of everything. It's the seed of everything. None of us would be sitting in this room right now without the power of story, because somewhere along the lines, you either read a story, you either heard a story that inspired you, and that gave you that, you know, that dream of accomplishing what it is that you've accomplished. So I think story can literally change the world. And I am extremely fascinated by that. And even beyond that, storytelling through sports. You know, what does that look like? You know, you sit there and, you know, I'm sure a lot of us have, many of you have kids at home that play sports. You tuck your kids in the bed, you read them a book. What sports book are you going to read to them that touches fantasy, right? That touches the imagination, that adds mythology to it? There are no stories out there like that. And I'm really, 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 really excited about bringing that to the world.
Hey, Kobe, for somebody that's been obsessed with the greats of the game since you were a kid, you're about to watch your jerseys go up into the rafters. Can you just put into words what legacy means to you?
Well, you know, it's hard to put into words. I think it's, you know, growing up and watching all these great players play and learning so much from them, to now be a part of that wall, you know, means everything to me. And I think legacy is really important in the sense of, you know, what we've done is awesome. But I think what's more important for a legacy is how that affects the next generation to come. And, you know, for the jerseys that are hanging in the rafters now, the impact that they've had on me, which led to us being in this moment here and now. And I think that's the true mark of a legacy, is how well it impacts the next generation.
In early, mid-April, you had your Achilles injury. And a lot of us kind of shared the emotional impact of that. Those people who watched the game live, or those people who caught the news on the ticker when they were watching SportsCenter that night. Tell us about the emotional journey that you went on from the time that you went down to the time that you posted this amazing expression of how you felt. Like, tell us about that emotional journey from injury to the Facebook post that you had that night.
When I first did it, like right there, I'm trying to feel if the tendons, if it's there or if it's gone. And I realized it wasn't there. So I was literally trying to pull the tendon up. Wow. So hopefully I can walk, you know, and kind of hobble through the last 2.5 minutes of the game to try to play, and shot the free throws, walked back to the bench, and tried to move around a little bit to try to see if there's a way. I knew it was torn, but is there a way I can kind of move around on the foot just a little bit, just to finish the game off, to be a decoy, to be a threat. And I tried, and I just felt the Achilles just continuing to kind of roll up my leg, and I said, I probably should go in the locker room. Then I went in, and the part that really sucks, I'm trying. So I saw my kids walking out. It was like, phew. That was tough.
And we were all impacted by that, and you could imagine how many texts went out in the Nike family about what had just happened to you and how we would react. And we got together, a number of us, with the help of the agency, and because you're a member of our family, and we wanted to remind people how important a member of our family you are, and we put this out. And it was an open letter from Nike to a member of our family, Kobe Bryant, about what you mean to us and reminding people what you've meant to the game of basketball. How did you feel when you first read that?
Nike to me is it's more than just, it's not a company to me, it's like family. You motherfucker.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, I like it. Almost got me too.
So it meant more to me than just, it means more to me than just a company or a shoe. It affects life. It affects how you live it. It's a teacher of life, and just do it. Means more than just getting out of bed and performing an action. It's it's having that Achilles tear and not knowing if you can come back from it. Then it's you gotta just do it because you want to set a great example for your kids.
Yeah.
So it means a lot more.
For me, being hand-drawn is representative of the story itself. It's a career that takes time to build. You have to work at it every day. There's a lot of those days you don't feel like working. Your body is not there, but you push through it anyway. So there's a lot of imperfections in that. But the beauty comes from those imperfections, which is extremely important that it be hand-drawn. And if you don't do something hand-drawn, you gotta
go to the best.
come on.
So that little boy we see on screen, how did he shape who you became?
It's funny, it's starting with a dream, but then understanding that it takes work to get there, right? And then once you get there, you've accomplished that, now what? And that's the kind of the core of the film itself. It's starting with a dream, working to get to that dream, accomplishing that dream, and now what do? You have to be able to let go and move on. And so the little boy has shaped me because he's still here with me. He's still inside of me. That childlike innocence is still there, and it's something that I think we all have to fight and struggle to hold on to and never lose.
I'm a big believer in, I'm just going to ask you, how do you find balance in your life, the type of balance that allows you to win at whatever you apply your mind to, yet also win at what's most important, which is raising your girls? 4 girls now.
4 girls, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a handful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's a very Zen thing, I think, but it's, whatever you're doing in the moment is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing at that time is the most important thing that you're doing at that time. And when you behave that way, it's not so much about, work and life, being this balance being, this infinite balance being, and you're trying to walk it perfectly. That's not what it is. You're always going to kind of, you're going to do a flip and you're going to be like this. Oh, shit. And then you're going to come back. And then you're going to do another flip and you're going to be like, oh, shit. Right. And on one side you have life and family, and on the other side you have work, man.
Right.
And so you have obsessions, and whatever you're doing at that moment in time, that is where your focus is. So as a result, you're going to keep going back and forth like this, back and forth like this, back and forth like this, back and forth like this. Yeah. And that's the gift and the curse of the life that we've chose to lead, man.
Absolutely.
It's never really stable in one direct line.
Right.
It's always going to be back and forth.
I love that.
I was looking up Kobe Bryant work ethic stories. It's like a Google search that apparently I'm not the only one who made it. And there are some trainers that are anonymous online being like, yeah, he texted me at 4:45 in the morning, wanted to go work out. I worked out with him, went back to my hotel room, went to sleep, came back in the morning. He was doing some shooting, and I said, oh, what time did you finish? And you were like, just now.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, did you show up 7 hours early for a scrimmage? And that's like this. The internet has a million of those.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you instill that same level of work ethic in your kids, or if you're like, okay, maybe that was a little bit much.
No, yeah, I do, but you know, it's you do it by repetition, you know, by just simply the act of working every day. Like, you can't talk your children into working hard. I mean, that's the one thing that drives me crazy is like, you know, I have parents come up to me on the street, or, you know, when I'm at the sports academy and saying, okay, you know, how can I get my kid to work hard? What do I need to tell? Can you talk to my kid? I say, listen, it's not something that you can talk through. It's a behavioral thing. You have to get up every day and do the work, right? Consistently do the work. My kids, volleyball, basketball, schoolwork, they work every day. And that's how you instill it in them, where it becomes a behavioral thing. And it doesn't matter what they decide to do. Like, if Gianna decides to not play basketball when she grows up, that's fine. But she understands the discipline that it takes to work at something every single day. So whether she wants to be a writer, a director, a doctor, a lawyer, she'll have those characteristics.
I'd rather be perceived as a winner than a good teammate. I'd ask you, what good's winning if you're not sharing it with your teammates?
Or you share it, because when you win, you share it. Everybody's happy, right? So I'd much rather have a relationship where, put it this way, you want to have a really close team. You guys are all friends. You guys have a good time. You guys enjoy each other's company, right? You get to the finals, you lose. This happens, all the time. You never get to win the championship, right? Now you fast forward 20 years from now, and you guys are sitting back at whatever get-together function that you guys are having. And you guys finally get a chance to reconnect, because when you guys retire, you all go separate ways, even though you guys were all buddies when you played. And you guys sit around, you telling those stories about how you came this close. Oh, we were this close. Right. But we had a great time, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when you fast forward years from now, and it's me, Lamar, Ariza, and all these guys, and we pushed each other. We had some really contentious moments, but that got us to be champions. And we're close because of everything that we went through. So you go 20 years from now, we're sitting back and laughing and enjoying each other's company because we really love each other. There's a brotherhood that's been formed there, and we won. I'd rather have that than that other one.
And you're talking about Game 7 in 2010 against Boston rather than Game 6 in 2008 against Boston.
Yeah, but even the entire season, more so. So when we lost to Boston in 2008, we had one of those happy-go-lucky teams. You know what I mean? And we got to the finals, we ran into a buzzsaw. So the next season, every season after that, we really challenged each other. We didn't hold anything back. If I didn't like what you were doing, I'd tell you, and vice versa. And there'd be moments where we didn't like each other very much, but we understood that we were doing this for a common goal. And when you have that, I think you have more respect and more admiration for the person that's sitting across from you.
Last one, to be fearless. That's something that I think every young adult, young kids, they face their fears, right? Mm-hmm. What does that mean to be fearless? Why is that such an important part of the Mamba mentality?
Well, I mean, because I think the greatest fear that we face is ourselves, actually. I think it's not anything that's external or anything that's superficial. I think the greatest fear you face is yourself, because we all have dreams, and it's very scary sometimes to accept the dream that you have, and it's scarier still to say, okay, I want that. Mm-hmm. It's scary because you're afraid that if you put your heart and soul into it and you fail, then how are you going to feel about yourself, right? So being fearless means putting yourself out there and going for it, no matter what. Go for it, not for anybody else, but for yourself.